Bum, bum, bum. Well, hey, everyone. Let's see what's going on tonight. Not much shaking. Let's see. Yep, muted. Great. Let's go to live chat. What's everybody doing tonight? Maybe we'll get some people to come on. Just had a long, busy day today. Hey, Blaine, good to see you. Just had a long, busy day today. Hey, Loma, Don. Got you, Don, right here. It worked well. Those gloves are soft for sure. They're back to soft again. Yeah, I was just got up, man, and kind of bored, so I figured maybe some people wanted to chat bees and see if anybody wanted. Well, nobody can come in. Hey, Tritone. I guess nobody can come in if I don't invite anybody, right? I gotta drop the gauntlet here. Let's see what all's happening. Pin message. There we go. All right. My microphone goes right in front of my chat there. Hey. So, yeah, I ended up grafting today. Thanks to Amir. Amir came over today. It's supposed to be rainy tomorrow, but yeah, Lee's getting ready for bed. And I saw you had that swarm move in. That's nice. Yeah, I shaved. I'm surprised nobody else has said anything yet. Only James. But so yeah, it was kind of a busy day today. Did the grafting, went through all the colonies, found some very nice, interesting stuff. You got to work on Sunday? What? Ended up having to take some small splits. Not really small splits per se. Had some frames with queen cells that we moved to two framers to let them hatch out. Some of my colonies are it's pretty important that you get in your colonies, because some of my small colonies that I assumed they weren't growing, but they weren't growing because they were packed out with nectar and pollen. They were just backfilling. So James still in the shop there, working on his tank. And so they were literally backfilling everything. So we took out some resources and gave them some empty frames for the queen to, not empty drawn comb, right? For them to draw out or lay up. So I had a bunch of stuff going on like that today. Sold some honey, put the honey on the back of the truck and parked it by the road. And people stopped. 6 hours. I had to give Charlie a old poke. I called him up just to tell him, hey, you're no longer the man. Your record has fallen. And then I got pulled away. But yeah, I was poking old Charlie there. Who knows? Maybe Charlie will come on. Or James, if he frees up. Or any of you fine people that are in here. But yeah, it was a really eventful day. Did the grafting, no shortcuts. If I feel to give you an idea, matter of fact, I need to buy some more grafting tools, because this one has bent, and even if I straighten it out, it doesn't, you have to kind of go at an angle so it'll hit that cup and try to bend under it, and it just wasn't working very well. do, do you get that many hours of a real job? No. They try not to. I try not to put in that many hours. But yeah, we were on for 6 hours last night, but we were talking bees, so it was good, Beekenomics, and both of my swarm colonies were queen right. Found both queens in there, so they're in good shape. I'm going to have to look at doing something with them here soon because they're still in their pro nukes. Of how to find it. Yeah, this thing just is wore out already after three times. I mean, I see why they're so cheap now, because you need 1 million of them. And then I should have used this other one, tried it, but I didn't try it. But it would have probably done better. But not the push pin, but this little piece that you get the larva on right there, if you're not real gentle with it, it'll just bend, right? So it's all about the learning process. And I have some here somewhere in this messy office of mine, and I need to get that together. I gotta get it together. But yeah, we had a good time out in the bees today. Amir stayed for a few hours, so right. I'm telling you, the bees, they're backfilling here, brood boxes, so it became very important to give some space. I'm live. What? My wife comes up,
I can hear that you're
knock
live.
the door down.
Thank you.
But yeah, they were backfilling the brood box, so she was running out of space there. So I had to give her some space, and some of my colonies are primed to really explode now. And a lot of the splits that I had queen cells in now have queens in them. So that's always good. And none of you guys want to join the chat tonight, huh? So this could be a very short live stream. It'll average out last night's. So. Oh, yeah, and it's the daylight savings time, right? So we're losing an hour tonight. It's going to spring forward. It's going to spring forward for us. Oh, where is it? Check this out. Check out what I got, guys, if you didn't see this short. The biggest bag of apis ever. This thing's bigger than my head, and I've got a big head. So, this is the 1,296 grams. Makes 600 pounds of pollen sub. So that's huge. It's pretty heavy too. And it's got new packaging, it looks like. Well, it's got to, because this is a new item. Right. Hey, Jennifer. So yeah, at least the rocket fuel for the pollen for pollen subs, for your pollen sub, is in a commercial size bag now. You can buy it in a commercial size bag. So it's this is the newest packaging anyway. I had where's my phone? I sent James some pictures today. I sent Sebastian. Let me see, my phone's almost dead. So where's my photos? Uh, photo. Pocket photo, pocket photo, pocket photo, pocket photo. So, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I added a box and checkerboarded a box, and that queen is going pretty crazy there. That was one of the frames, and it's laid all the way up to the end, but it was pretty much a slab of brood there on the one side, if you can see it. I don't know, I can never see it very good on my phone on the screen there. And let's see. And that's the other side of that frame. So they're building it out and drawing, laying it up with some brood. Very nice today. So it's good to see some of that stuff in there. Very nice to see some of that stuff. All right, so it appears nobody wants to join me this evening. Let me see. Sold some honey today. Let me see. Yep, that's it. That's it. No other messages. Let me see. Just too lazy to make patties. I gotcha. Yeah, they are. They are here. They're bringing a ton of pollen too. They're getting plugged up. Go ahead, Keith. We'll do our best there, answering questions before. It is late. I figured West Coasties would be hopping in here, but it's just been a busy day. I was hoping we'd get some people jumping in. Ed did a video today. Son of One, he did one. Couple videos. Lee did a video. A few of them. That's the only pack I've got. That's the only pack of this I got for resale, guys. Obviously, I don't need to make 600 pounds. I'm running pumps tonight. Let me see. Put swarm cells in. I don't know when they were capped. How long should I stay out to get mated? So if they're capped all the way, minimum is going to be 5 days, right? Let me see. I can pull up my handy dandy spreadsheet here, thanks to James. They're capped on 15th. Let me see. Queen. So 6 days after they're capped. So if they were capped whenever you put them in, within 6 days, the queen would have emerged. And then, so 6, probably 12 days, they should be on the mating flights. I'd leave them a couple weeks, man. I'd probably leave them a couple weeks before you check to make sure they're hatched out. That's been one of my biggest trials is knowing when to stay out of something and when to go in it, right? So it is challenging because, if there is no queen, you don't want to wait. For me, it's like, I don't want to wait and let them stay queenless if there's no queen cell. But there is no link to the spreadsheet. The link, it's emailed to me, Lagrange. If you guys email me, I can send it as an attachment back to you. It's an Excel spreadsheet. James says he doesn't mind if I share it. At least he said that, unless he changes his mind after I've sent it out to 100 people. But I wish I had a place to just save it and link it. let me see. So we grafted today. Yep. So let me see. Oh, Keith, that sucks, man. Yeah, so let me see. I don't know if there's no way for me to link that. So if we grafted today, that means Wednesday, my queen cells will be capped. And then, yep. So we're going to see what happens. Yeah, there's one too. That one works as well. I like the spreadsheet one. I think they're the same. This one's more colorful. So it's got like warnings, right? Things to do on different days. The beeyard.org. Have I been to that one? I've been to that one before. I think that's the one Charlie talks about a lot. Let me see what happens here. Queen rearing calendar. Oh yeah, so it's a little bit different. So when you do that, it you can definitely put the information in that you need. So graft Monday, Tuesday. See, this one's a little bit different than mine, but it still works. I say mine. It's only mine because it's on my computer. It's actually James's, so don't want to take credit for that at all. Yep, for sure. Send me an email, and I'll respond. Just put on their spreadsheet or something, or a Queen spreadsheet, and then I'll just respond back to it with the file, and that should be good. I don't think I can put that on my website. I don't know, because let me see. Dashboard. Oh, you know what? Account. I don't know if it'll let me add a file. That's the active as apps, browsers, integrations. Let me see. Platinum. Payment options. Edit shop info. I wonder if it'll design. Let's see. Drop an image. Slideshow. Trying to see if it'll let me enable collections, Twitter URL, blah blah blah. Pages. Add a new page. Insert a link. I want a link. Insert edit media. Yeah, I'll have to do some research on that one, because on how to, if it'll let me upload something. I need to do some work on the website anyway. That's what I need right there. Yeah, I have to see. I haven't seen where I can upload a link or a downloadable file. No, I just shaved my beard, man. I shaved it this morning when I got up. So grafting went good. Amir came over. I still did all the grafts, but he was very helpful. A lot of it is just experience, right? Make sure you got a bunch of grafting tools. That's all I can say, because if something goes wrong with them, it kind of messes the whole experience up. Basically, slow down, take your time, don't skip any steps. Make sure you've got no queens in your box. We did a bunch of stuff, and then after that, we went through a bunch of colonies as well. So we did a bunch of work over there today. But yeah, the grafting tool, these things are so cheap that I guess they don't last very long, because this little deal was bending and was not going very well with that. But we got it done, so we'll see how it goes. I think we'll have good success this time. Of course, I thought that last time, so we'll see how that goes. We will definitely see how that goes. But can't believe nobody wants to jump in here, man. Let's see. No, I've already been doing some splits, but I'm trying to use my own queens. When I say some splits, the only splits I've been doing are out of necessity, right? So go in a colony, queen cells, move it, right? Move the queen cells. And luckily I haven't found any swarm cells. They've all been like a supersedure or something like that. But so what I found in several of my colonies today. All right, Lee. Let me see. Reply. That was in my download. All right. Bam. Open. There we go. Sent. Hold on. I just heard somebody come in. All right. Lagrange, that should be there, man. Carl, what's up, buddy?
You got to be kidding me. 0?
Oh, yeah. That turned out there was a queen walking around in the box.
Didn't I say that?
Yeah.
I said that. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I said, I told you, I said, I tried it. I was successful the first time. And then the second time, third time, I was 0-0. And what happened? A queen was in there.
So these are the two queens that I got, the two cells I got the first time out, right? They were both dead. So
well, that sucks.
I think
at least when I got queens cells the first time, I think I got 2 queens out of the 3 or 4 I got.
Well, so. I think this right here. I mean, those are good looking cells, bro. You can't say they're good looking.
No, they look decent, man. They really do.
And they both had a black mark on the side of the larva when I did my autopsy on them. So I think,
looking for every reason to blame something else.
No, I think that queen might have come back in before I pulled the first graft out, but they were dead. So there was no queens ever going to hatch out of those. But it's part of the learning curve, I guess. And
I'm right there with you.
So I went through there and checked it, and I had knocked down every cell that I saw. But if she had already hatched out and was walking around in there, then is what it is. But
here's what I have to say about it. Everybody says, and you watch all the videos online and everything else, everybody is saying, hey, you should create your own queens.
It's not that easy.
It's not easy, number one. Number two is everybody else shows a video and you can't see how to do it. And I've been saying this, you have to have more guys like you're doing right now. And I appreciate what you're doing right now.
Failing for the team.
That's what it comes down to. And you're way ahead of me because where you live.
Well, I mean, they're backfilling the brood boxes now. I mean, pollen and nectar.
Yeah.
And so her space is getting less and less. So we're pulling resources out today and putting empty frames in, not drawn comb. We're putting drawn comb back in for her to lay up in. So what was happening, do I have a frame? I do have a frame. Hold on. So, all right. So when she came out of winter, like some of these colonies I've been complaining about being so small, right?
Yeah.
So imagine your box there, right? And let's say the brood or the cluster's right here, right? But there's frames on the outside on both sides. Well, since it's so small, when they first start foraging, they're loading all their food and nectar in here on both sides of the cluster. Now there's frames out here that she could be laying in.
Yeah.
But it's like she gets to that food frame and then she stops and she just stays in here, right? And so they're coming in and they're just starting to backfill when stuff hangs out. So we ended up taking the food out to the edges, pulling those empty ones in, and checkerboarding a few. So now she's got a bigger space that she can just lay till her heart, to her heart's desire. But we found that in a few colonies today. The biggest thing is, no, I didn't film today. The reason I didn't film is because when you got the camera, it's just an extra complication, right? So
yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've been working on it and I haven't even filmed yet. I bought the camera, I bought this and that, and I'm in a better category than a lot of people. My wife works with me.
right.
She does. And we've been playing around with it. We're not tech people and this and that. And we're building up to it and that. And I'm dying because I'm looking at a guy down south like you. And I'm like, we had 7 inches of snow on Monday. And then today we had 4 inches of snow. Now it doesn't stick around long in that, but then it'll be 55 degrees tomorrow. So it's like a roller coaster. We can't get ahead of it,
Well, the other thing is, so you got these cups, right? And you've grafted, right? You've tried.
Yeah, I've grafted a handful of times in that.
Okay. So
and I think I told you, I said, I got screwed over the first time.
So you got your cups here, let's say, and this is why I didn't film it, right? So you got the frame, and it's sitting here, and then you got this down at the bottom of it, and you're picking larvae out. If I put a camera here, it's just in my way from doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if I had somebody to hold it, it would be different. Otherwise, you're not really seeing anything on it. Now, maybe when I get a little more proficient at it, I mean, it's definitely, for my eyes, it gets tricky. Like I would say, oh, there's a larva, and I'm looking through the magnifiers, but then you got the whole depth perception thing where you got the magnifying glass and you're looking at the frame and you think you're in it, but you're up off of it a little bit. And I was grafting. I'm like, well, there's a larva, and I pull it up and it's an egg on there, right? And I'm like, well, just wipe it off. I mean, if I had any idea, if I go into the cup and I didn't get a clean pull, if it hit the side, I wiped it off and went to another one. So that way I know for a fact that if I got her, more than likely she didn't roll. She didn't.
Hey, Bob, I gotta ask you.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask you. If PETA knew what we were talking about, what we're talking about right now, how would they feel? How would they feel about you?
Oh, what you talking about?
PETA, You know what I'm talking about, PETA?
Well, they should help. They should be happy because we're actually trying to propagate a species and
Yeah,
expand.
you know what? You know what I'm saying. Oh, you just killed something, Bob. You just killed something.
Well, yeah, that's true. You killed it. Well, I mean, I wiped them off quick too. It was like, nope, that one's not going to be good.
Hey, I've been there.
So
I'm just saying. And I told you, I said, and you watch some of these videos, and I'm sure you've watched them. Some of these big breeders down there in Florida and that.
right,
They're like this.
they've
One
done
after
it
another.
1,000 times.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm honest to God, I'm telling you, my wife, you know, here I am, 300-pound guy, big hands, this and that. I'm convinced. I told her, I said, you're doing it. I said, and my 8-year-old daughter, I said, good eyes, good hands. Just teach her what to do. We're going to give it a try.
I mean, it's, for me, it's, this part is really not that, getting them is not that bad. If you can keep this thing kind of semi-straight going in, because if you can look down in the cell, I mean, obviously the cells are smaller than the cup, but if you can keep this going straight down to where it hits that bottom and curls under, the problem is doing it in the cup's easy because you can see all the way around. Doing it in an old comb where you're going straight down, once this tool's in there, you can't see, I can't see it anymore. So,
well, my experience was, and I've only done it probably half dozen times now because I'm working on it like you are. You're starting.
Yep.
I've only done it half dozen times. And I've had some success, but here's what I got to tell you. Going down into the cell, it's so tight.
Yep. Especially the old hard ones.
Yeah, it's so tight. It really is so tight. It's a lot harder going down into the cell to get that larvae, and get under it and scoop it in that.
Just tear the cell wall down.
Put it into the cup isn't the problem. But then you go to put it in the cup, and you probably experience this now because you tried it a couple times. Go to put it in the cup, and there's not enough royal jelly. It doesn't drop right off easy.
All right, so today we actually did a wet graft. So Amir brought, he has a little glass. It's almost like something you'd get makeup on, like, a little.
Yeah, I saw you posted something, but I've been so busy today I didn't get to watch any of it. But
And that was just about this big bag of Apis.
I saw something about that. Yeah.
For the pollen sub, but he actually did prime the cups, but not a lot, just a little bit in there. The main thing for me, and he said it's so much easier if you're grafting off of like a black plastic foundation or a black plastic frame that's fresh comb. If it's a brand new frame like that's just drawn out, they're so easy to see in there and get. It's awesome, but is what it is. The funny thing is, I've made more queens off of that queen than I've grafted off of that queen this year, which is funny. I've been trying to graft off of her, but that queen, so I accidentally moved her right.
Okay.
To the
yeah, you split that off and you didn't.
So the parent colony made a queen off of her, and they're laying up, right? Went into her in to get the frame to graft off. Well, there were some queen cells. So now I've split those queen cells into 2 framers so they'll hatch out and hopefully come back and get mated, right? So it's kind of funny that I've made more this year queens just from them making queen cells and me splitting over than me actually trying to make queen cells.
You'll get there. Hey, listen, I'm in my 5th year right now, and like I said, I've been building, and and I've been watching videos and that, and COVID helped me in some ways because I'm running 2 other businesses,
Well, yeah, I do the same thing, right?
and I'm boogieing. I mean, my average week is 75, 80 hours.
Well, and I try to say I try to tell people that too. So like I'll get a lot of phone calls, and I love talking to people on the phone and everything. That's not a problem. The problem is I don't always answer them because I'm doing something else, right?
Yeah,
And I just have to make that time. And it's not that I'm trying to be rude to anybody or anything, but I work my day job. If there's a swarm call or something like that, I go get it. That's more time, right?
yeah.
Then I
If you
get
go
home.
get it, you go get it.
Then I get home, and then I might have swarm lure orders that I've got to
Good for you,
pack
yeah.
up. So this weekend's been kind of slow on the swarm lure, but it is what it is. And
yeah, the weather sucked like this year, this weekend. It's across the nation. It sucks, so that could happen. So, but I mean, it's just crazy. I'm working I spent today 5 hours on a service call, and another 6 hours building up boxes and stuff.
right. And
I mean,
today I was out. First thing this morning, I had to go to UPS and drop off an order, right, that somebody ordered so I could get it out. I don't wait. If the post office is open, I take it that day. I don't wait. I could wait till Monday and I don't. I get it out unless I have to wait. And then I came back. I'm like, you know what? He's coming to help me graft in a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and set my truck out by my sign that says local honey and put it up there and post. I sold about $100 worth of honey.
Good for you.
But all day I'm out there working in the bee yard, right? So it's like, then you come back in and it's like, if I were to film a video, now I've got to edit that video, right? So people say, well, why do you go live so much? Well, some people post videos up every day. I just prefer
live might be easier though.
Live is easier for my schedule. It is easier, and it's much easier when someone like yourself or people join in, because now it's a conversation, right? That people can ask questions on, and we can do our best to answer it, and try to help out. And then we get James and Lee and people.
Yeah, James helped me quite a bit. I actually built, I think, five sets of 3-frame boxes today. Where I could have them. I have the pallets already set up. I built 3 pallets or 4 pallets today, and 15 boxes.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm building into that. I mean, I don't have a machine to move boxes around like that. But you know what? I keep on building up, and I'm thinking, I'm not getting no younger.
Right? Yeah, me neither.
I'm not getting no younger. And you know what? If I have it set up a year or 2 down the road, it's already on pallets. So I can move them around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I haven't gone to the pallets. I still have, cinder blocks with timbers on it for them to set on. But I'm getting to the point now to where it's like I see people just setting them on the ground, straight on the ground, and I'm like,
that's what I'm working on. I actually just set up a new bee yard in my brother-in-law's yard, and I'm setting them up on the pallets, and it's a little bit of an incline, and I'm going to prop them up, and I'll work from there. Because a year or 2 from now, if I have a machine, then I'll start to build from there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just crazy. You have to adapt and run with it.
Oh, Amir's on here. Thanks. Hey, Amir, I want to say thank you again, brother, for coming out and helping me out today. We went through a lot of colonies. He's like, see, this is what I'm hoping for. So we went through the colony that I took the queen that I'm breeding off or trying to graft off of, right? And her daughter that was left behind, Amir's like, she's a beast. I mean, she was slamming. I mean, she was laying up everything she could lay up down there. And those colonies, I mean, I think I'm in a good spot that, in 2 weeks when these queen cells are hopefully mated, hopefully we get a good take and they're mated, it'll be perfect because these colonies are getting ready to really pop off over here. But the funny thing is, I haven't really done any splits. My backyard, I got my side yard where my bees are, and then I got the back where I try to do my queen mating nukes, right? And and that's also where I've got my 2 swarm catches back there and pro nukes. And now there's 7 2-framers that have either queens or queen cells in them. And then I've got the 2 nukes back there. So now I've got 9 colonies back there that are all this week, right?
No, you are.
And so things are.
Well, how are you doing are your bees still a little antsy? You couldn't even walk out in the yard before.
No, they got a mirror today. They didn't get me today. So
you brought fresh blood in, is what you're saying.
Oh, well, hey, that's not entirely true. I got hit when I went in the cutout. That cutout I did a couple weeks ago. They were still antsy. They didn't have a queen, so I dropped them from the colony.
Well, you went live a day or 2 ago. I clicked on it. I actually.
Oh, you caught me getting hit in the ears and everything else?
Yeah, I stopped at the house and I clicked on the computer and you were out in the yard and you were boom, 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 one after the other.
Oh yeah, they were hot that day, but now they've kind of chilled out for me. They haven't been on me, and except for that one colony, and they're just queenless, right? They don't have anything. So I dropped them a frame in there, and I'm like, just make one off of this colony's queen.
Well, I'm up north, and I've been playing with the buckfast bees. And
well, I'll tell you what.
I played with them, and they produce really well.
But that's what Warren said. Black Mountain Honey uses buckfast, and sometimes he's getting lit up out there.
Oh, let me tell you. I brought in, I think, 15 different queens over the last 3 years, and I had some good success. But here's what I got to tell you: they're hot or cold.
Right.
If you get the right queen, gentle as can be, and then you can go one hive over, and you take the lid off.
And they
no word of lie.
Boiling out.
Listen. No word of lie. I'm not joking because my wife works the bees with me.
Mm-hmm.
I've already had where I pop the lid and I've watched my wife turn and walk away and go, I'm out.
Just walk away.
And I'm not joking. She literally walked away. And I've had it so bad where they were lifting my arms up as I'm working them. And right. I walk away and I get on the golf cart and I go across the field. And they're chasing me.
Oh, I had them come all the way with me out of that one cutout all the way to my back door.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, this isn't good.
I've had them chasing. I already had them where the bee yard is 250, 300 yards from my house and another 200 yards from my warehouse. And my employee was standing in front pressure washing something. And he got attacked.
Well, I'll tell you what. I last year started doing that. I was like, well, I'm going to diversify my genetics, right? I'm going to bring in some Carniolan nukes and start them up. And I'm going to bring in some Jose Queens. And I got a Pepto Pink from Greg. And I got some from Cutix down the road here. So I had a bunch of different queen genetics in the yard, and James has been a lifesaver this year because I thought I knew what I was doing, and I have a pretty good handle on what to do. But what happened was I would look at an Italian colony and it would be in a double deep and just exploding, and then I would look at the Carney colony and it's like barely getting on 3 and 4 frames, trying to grow itself out.
This
right?
Is how they are.
And James was like, well, Bob, they're two different breeds. They act differently. So if you're going to do that, have a different breed in a different yard. So that way, when you look at the colony, all those colonies should be pretty similar, right? The genetics are pretty similar. They should act pretty similar.
Okay.
They should cluster pretty similar. And if you want to go with Italians, then all your Italians will act pretty similar. You know, it'll give you a good baseline of what you're looking at. But if you look at if I look at my Italians and then look at my Carnies, now I'm like, something's wrong with them. But that's just how they are, you know? So it was a little bit of a different thing for me, because I was like hating on my Carnies. I'm like, yeah, they suck because they're not doing nothing. And my Italians are blowing up over here. And
I'm mixing them up right now. I mean, I have a lot of Buckfast, and
right.
I do have Italians, and I have hives that I can go in and work with no gloves, nothing. And it's kind of like a mix, because then I could go to the next one. I could work it the same way, and it could be Buckfast.
Right.
And then I can go one hive over that is Buckfast.
But now that hot hive is probably loaded with honey and blowing up and doing great. And you're like, man, if I can just deal with them being pissy, then I'm okay, right? But
it is. You're right. It's like a blend. And then I have a handful of hives that I don't know if they're Italian or what, that are hives that friends called me and said, hey, I got a swarm up here in my tree. And unlike you down there in Northeast PA, when you get a swarm, it's feral.
Right.
I mean, we don't have, there is beekeepers here, but a majority of it is feral. And the first thing I have to do is treat them, because I found they're loaded.
Right.
They're loaded.
Bite bomb.
Yep. And I treat them, but here's the other killer is I treat them, and they're one of my best hives that year.
Yep.
I mean, they just pump the honey out like you won't believe. And so, I'm trying to blend everything in. And this year my goal is, you know, with a 6 and 8 year old that are working bees with us, those Buckfast, they can be a little nasty once in a while. I want to breathe it out.
Well, what I'm trying to do is, and you know, it's probably like everybody when they start trying to graft and do things, I'm just picking from my best colonies, right? That colony that I'm grafting off is gentle. They're pretty prolific, right? I mean, I made the mistake and was trying to make a nuke. I put it in that box, and next thing I know, I come back 2 weeks later, the box is loaded, and I'm having to add another box on it, right? So, so that's the ones I'm picking off of. That's why those other colonies are, I don't care if they're last year's queens that I paid $30 for. I don't care. They're going to get replaced this year. That's why
numbers are numbers.
Yep. That's why I'm replacing them. And then there's another thing. I wasn't marking, right? So I didn't know. James asked me, well, how old is the queen in that box? Don't know. I know I got the nuke this year, but she wasn't marked. I don't know how old that queen was, right? So requeen. That's the only way you know. If you mark it and you requeened it, you know, at least at the beginning of the year, that was a brand new queen. First year.
We're working on that.
Yep. So
here's what happened to us, Bob. And this is interesting and not happy, but we had the Buckfast bees. We brought in, I think we brought in 6 queens last year, and we had the previous year 6 queens, and we were building up on it. Last year, the one hive was blowing up, and we went in it, me and my wife, and we already had a box of honey on it, and we found the queen. We went to mark her. I grabbed the queen, pulled her out, marked her. As soon as we dropped her in, they balled her. Killed her immediately.
What? And she was mated? They killed her?
Yep.
soon as you marked her, did you let her dry good and make sure that
Yep.
was off of
Yep.
there and everything?
Yep. Pulled her out. We pulled her out. It was the first time we saw her. Pulled her out, marked her, and as soon as we dropped her in,
Sorry.
bless you.
Thank you.
We marked her. As soon as we dropped her in, after waiting a good minute or so, had her in her queen clip and everything else, and dropped her in, they balled her and killed her.
Really?
And my wife looked at me and she says, "Never again."
I have not had that happen myself.
It's scary, but you know what? We got away from marking last year because of that. And my wife said to me, she says, "Hey, we both have the experience. We're both picking up the queens. We look in there, even if she's not marked, we pick them out."
Now,
Why
the
should we
other
mark
thing
them?
I do when I'm marking a queen,
Yeah,
and I'm no expert. Like I said, I was the same way. I wasn't marking. But what I was doing is before I was making a big dot on her, right? And now I'm just barely, I mean, I'll just put a very little
just
dot on
touch
her.
it.
Maybe about like that, right?
Okay.
Just so it's just a period and not a big mark, just so she's easy to identify. I mean, you still got to find her, but I haven't had that issue, knock on wood, with the ones that I've had. I've had other issues. I've cut the queen's head off with the queen catcher, right? Which is why I started using my fingers. And I've had a queen fly off and go wherever, but I've also had them fly off and then fly back to the front and come back in.
I've had that happen where they fly off and come back.
Like, like those swarm catches I put up this week that people were asking me, well, did you have a queen? Both of them ended up having queens in them. So I didn't mark them. I didn't have my yellow pin with me, but I would have marked them last year's. But those two, believe it or not, those two are pretty much filling up that box already that they're in. It's just a 5-frame. So they're probably going to get split and get a cell. And now I got 4 nukes, right? Instead of the 2 swarms. So,
well, that's what happened to us last year with that queen was a shocker. And thank God it panned out. They re-queened by themselves.
But see, now here's the thing.
But we lost half a season. And for us, we lose something like that, it's gone.
But see, here's the difference now. When you get, I noticed it last year because I was buying queens in bulk and then reselling them, right? So I always had queens. So if I had one do that, no worries. Took a caged queen.
Yeah, and drop her right in.
I just set her in there, let them get used to her. 2 days.
Yeah, but you're in the South, Bob.
Yeah, you know.
And here's what the killer is I'm in Northeast PA. I would love to have that opportunity because I think there's a great market for me.
Right.
But and that's where I'm trying to build this because I have another business and I want to get out of it. I've worked it for 27 years.
Right.
And I love the bees. I love them. And there's a great opportunity because anything in the Northeast, overwintered or anything like that, you can't find it. So
right.
I'm building on it, and I'd love to have the opportunity to say that I have 100 queens sitting to go. But
well, hey, if you buy 100 queens, you can get a good price on them. I know that much. Well,
yeah, I know, but
not a great price, but it's a good price.
If you're going to have 100 queens, you also have to have the ability to keep them viable.
Yeah, so this is how it worked for me. Okay, I went to the beekeeping supply store, the local one, right? They didn't have queens, so the only thing we could do is order them, right? Well, you order them, they'll be here tomorrow, type of deal, right?
Yeah.
However, I did find that if I was buying them and I told the beekeeping supply store, hey, if anybody calls you for queens, so they're like, well, we get a couple calls a day for queens. Good. Just give them my number and I'll get them some queens. So I just went down and picked up 25, 26 at a time, right? 700-800 bucks worth. And I had double deep colony, right? So all I did was that top deep, I pulled up some brood, right?
Okay.
And put some empty frames down for them in that bottom box to replace them. And then I just set that whole battery tray that all those JZBZs are in.
Yeah.
Right on top of those frames. Nurse bees just came up and covered them up, took care of them. And that was, and usually then I would put it on Facebook, in your bee groups. Hey, I've got queens. Anybody needs mated queens, I've got them. And you'd be surprised how many people message you. How much? $40, because that's what you're going to pay if you have to go mail them. If we're going
Well, that's the thing is, I want to get to that point, but the thing is, and I'm in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Well, in early September, you have no problem where you are. If you're early October here, you're not getting one.
Right. You just have to get them from down here, man. Make a trip down to the beach, pick up.
But even in October, if you try and get one shipped up from down south, it starts to get a little iffy.
Well, what happens down here is the people I get them from are the people that supply Better Bee and Man Lake and all them, right? So if I go down there to get them at the end of May, they leave and go to New York to do their fall stuff up there, right? And then in October they come back down here to get ready for the spring again. So
and the way the weather is anymore, late October, it's like you get second week of October around here,
right?
Forget it, you're not getting them. Even if you go online, you can't get a queen.
Yeah, so then you're merging.
And you know what? This business, everybody's saying it's a dying business.
No, I think it's flourishing.
They're full of shit. There's no other way to put it. They're full of shit. Because there's more beekeepers now than there was before. There's so many hobbyists, it's unreal. And I've been approached by many. I've already been out at a winery, and the guy who was running the winery has somebody talking to him, says, go talk to him. They come over and start talking to me, and they're like, well, my bees, they're starting to, something's happening, they're dying off. I'm like, well, did you treat for mites?
Right.
What are you talking about, mites?
Yeah, they don't.
They have no clue.
Yeah, I have a guy down in Florida that hits me up on Facebook, and he's like, hey, I got home, I had a swarm. My colony swarmed. It's 40 feet up in the tree, but they were only there for like 15 minutes, and then they swarmed back to the colony. What should I do? I said, well, they're going to swarm. So what I would do is I would swarm for them. I would split that queen out, leave the queen cells
Open
behind.
that box up and rip it up.
Yep, and move them to another location. And that way you made the swarm for them. They're right there. And that whatever you leave behind is,
and you hope it works, because it's not always a positive thing. It doesn't always work, but
could lock them in for a few days. Maybe they make that home there, you don't know. But you can only do, the thing is, that's the whole point. When you message somebody and that has already happened, well, then you're at the liberty of what the bees are going to do, right? If you're not in there, and you're in Florida, for God's sakes, I mean, it's warm all year long, except for bees. So it's like, why are you? I mean, you should be in there pretty regular, But it is what it is. I mean, maybe you're real busy too with the job.
I'll be back in a second.
Yes, sir. And let me see. Hey, Amir, who are you asking about their queen pin? This pin is one I've had. I've got new pins coming in that are better than these for marking, but this is a Posca pin, pretty much the standard one. But yeah, I've got new ones that'll be here this week. My Apis was supposed to be here on Monday. It showed up today, so I've got that back in stock. The only one I was really out of was the was the activator, but I've got everything else back in. And then we're going to put up the pins when they come in. Let's see. And let me see. What do we got going on here? Nothing. Yeah, it is humid in Florida for sure. And so, see, this time last year, when they started backfilling the brood box, that's when I did the demarray, right? I didn't cut my hair. I only cut my beard, bro. I only cut my beard off. It just, my hair's the same as it was yesterday. I just look younger. And when I cut it off for my job, everybody was like, you need to let your beard grow back. And then they let me and I grew it back. But I like to shave it off. Especially, the bees, I don't think they like the beard because they always are trying to get the beard, So now it's gone.
They just stick in the beard then.
Yeah. Or they
get
in the back of your hair.
Be shooing them and that.
So, but, so when's things really start firing off for you guys up there?
I'm really pushing it right now. I put on pollen patties last week, and it's weird because this has been a weird year for us. Our February should have been our March, and
right.
Our March is now becoming our February because we've had 15, 18 inches of snow, and that's what we should have in February. And it's been averaging around 40 degrees, which would be good in February for us. But
so it got warm and now it's cold again.
Yeah, now it's our March should be around 50-degree warm during the days. So I'm gonna run with it. I think this week is averaging around 40 degrees. The middle of this coming week, it's going to be 40, 40. Then it's going to be 45, 47, 48. And
right.
I think next Friday, I'm going to put a bucket feeders on, and I'm going to put more pollen on. I already have an outdoor pollen feeder on. I'm going to run with it. If it kicks me in the ass, it's going to kick me in the ass.
We had 82 this past week, and today it was in the 60s. And right now it's 49. So it's we're doing the little roller coaster thing. But I think once this little cold spell gets past us, it's done for us. I mean,
all I got to say, Bob, is you suck all the way around.
Hey, I don't control the weather, man.
How's that sound for an answer? Even the 49, you suck all the way around.
I was talking to Charlie today, and Charlie was like, you have nectar flow coming in? I'm like, yeah, they're backfilling. He's like, man, yeah, have you put a honey super on yet? I'm like, no.
Well, he's in Maryland. I mean, I have a place in Delaware, and I got to tell you, I'm ready to move everything down there. I got to tell you, I'm ready to run.
I'll tell you what, if I could find some cheap dirt, man, I would do it, but I can't find it.
Hey, Bob, don't look to buy anything. Just work off everybody else's land.
You're like,
sign a little contract. Lee, I had to send an email to Lee. Get your little land lease things.
So, hey, John, you can order that directly from Global with the Apis in it. I would love to have some here. The problem is, I got a couple problems. First of all, the weight of the product, right? So it costs a lot to ship. Because if I got to carry it, then I'm not ordering a box, right? I'm ordering 600 pounds of it or something like that. So I have to get it on a pallet, and then it's the storage, right? Then I got a pallet of it in my honey house to ship out. And if it's just sitting there, and not only that, but using pollen patty here, I can't use full, I can't throw a slab of pollen patty on there. It'll get hive beetled up.
Yeah, thank God I don't have that problem.
Oh, Amir asked, what kind of pin are you marking with? What kind? Are you using these Posca pins too?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Because he's
I did. Yes.
no,
I think it
yes,
was just Amir. I gotta say, I think it was just a freak episode, you know. And I've already looked into. I watched a ton of videos and that, and I've heard other stories of people that happening. And as soon as we put the queen down there, I saw him starting to ball her, and it tried to reach down there and try to pull her back out, and it was done and over with. It
I,
was that quick.
I've marked more queens this year than I have all the rest of the years I've been beekeeping. So it's because I did the same thing. I killed one with the one-handed queen catcher. I had her marked beautifully.
Yeah.
Boom. And then I pulled down the plunger to give her room. And when I went to open it up, she ran up and got her head stuck in the grate as I'm pulling it back, and just off with her head, was done.
I personally think that my problem is I've been wearing gloves, and
That makes
I
it
should
hard to mark them. Yeah.
I should stop being a pussy and just barehand it like you should, because there's nothing like your own skin feel, your feeling, and everything else. And the other problem is, I 320 pounds. I'm a big guy,
Yeah,
so I got big fingers, big this and big that.
I used to
I
be
should make
400
my
pounds.
wife do it. I should make my wife do it.
I used to be 400 pounds.
Congratulations, you're pretty thin.
Hey, I had surgery, so I can't take all the credit for it, but I had bariatric surgery. But
Listen, Bob, I was 375 and down to 310, so I'm happy.
you're on the right direction there.
And listen, I know surgery and I think the bees have been the thing that my driving force, because I wasn't moving like I wanted to, and the bees made me want to get there.
Get out there and
Yep,
move
I want
around.
to work at the bees.
Get off the couch and not watching TV.
Oh, listen, I wasn't on the couch either way. I wasn't on the couch either way. Believe me that.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I got the competitive advantage pins coming in that that came in and Bob Benny used. Got them coming in. Yeah, I do. I haven't, this last batch I didn't put peppermint in them, but I do use peppermint. Like, matter of fact, if you go back, Earl was the first person to talk about it, and I was the first person to do it in my pollen sub. He, so yeah, I've been around the peppermint block. I don't have the pins. They're coming in on Tuesday, and as soon as they come in, I'll post them up. That way I have the actual what it cost me in front of me, shipping and everything, and I can figure out what the price is going to be on them. And I've got 50 sets coming in, so I've got plenty coming in. Well, I think it's plenty if I don't put them on Amazon. If I put them on Amazon, they might go real quick, but the thing is with the peppermint, my thing was all right, so when the whole thing started, Earl had like 2 colonies that he was doing it on. And now he's got more, but at that time he had like 2, I think. And I had 60. So it was a time where it was like hard to keep up with it all the time. Oh, Carl got DC'd. And I'm excited about the pins. And I've got some oh, there he is. He's back. Possibly. This video has got to come back. Carl, now I got you twice, bud. Now you're upside down. How are you upside down? There you go. I'll remove Carl 1 or Carl 2, whichever one was there. But the But yeah, it's been crazy, crazy. And that's the other thing with the businesses, right? So, okay, so with the swarm lure, since I do it all, right? I mix it, I bottle it, I label it. Well, my wife's been labeling the last couple batches, but when I got to do that, then I've got that all to do as well, right? Carl is in Pennsylvania, Northeast PA. They're on Amish Wi-Fi up there. Look, he just DC'd again. He's locking up. Let me see. So just trying to work out a bunch of stuff, and hopefully, let me see. He's back out again. All right. Let's see. Yeah, we ended up going 6 hours last night. 6 hours and 15 minutes. Not going to be that long tonight, guys. Carl's going in and out. The real question is, where in the world are you, James McNally? We haven't had a onesie sighting tonight. Haven't seen a pint. Oh, wait a minute. Pennsylvania's not Amish. It's Quaker, right? Quaker. They might have Amish there as well. He's coming back. Is he coming back? Well, there he is, upside down on my screen. That's weird. You're upside down. There you go. Flipped around. You having connection issues there, Carl? Can you hear me, Carl? I don't know. He can't hear me. Nah, I'm right here. Now I'm over here. Can you not hear me, Carl? I don't think he can hear me. I hear you. Am I muted? No. I'm going over there. I'm over here. Can you not hear me, Carl? Nope. I don't know what he's got going on over there. But so the swarm lure is on the Amazon, right? And it's on my website. So I got the bullets are on my website. They're not on Amazon because they're kind of a pain to do. So I don't keep a large amount of them in. I do have some in now. Matter of fact, let me see. I sold some. Who did I sell some to today? Michael Apple. Thank you. Michael Apple bought a bunch of these today. So we got them ready to go out. I'm not there anymore. Oh. Yeah, we don't have helpful farmers. I've had very few farmers. I had a couple that asked me, did I want to bring bees out there, but they've never broached the subject of paying me to bring them out there. Let me see. Got to be there. And nobody else wants to join tonight? Let's see. So everybody could hear me but Carl. Maybe you can. Yeah, but I hear Cotton is good. Give him 5 minutes. All right, I'll give you 5 minutes, James. But I think today was a very successful day. Won't know, the success of the graphs, but as far as getting knowledge, was a very successful day. And being able to learn I did, but it's, let me see. Do I have, I don't even, yeah, I've got one up here. All right. So the bullets, the best way that I found to do the bullets is, can you hear me, Carl? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I could hear you, but I was like, yeah, you can't hear me.
Yeah, well,
so the
don't
bullet.
worry, the Amish are happy up here in PA.
Do you have the Amish or the Quakers or both?
We have both.
We have Mennonites down here. Do you have Mennonites too?
Yep, we have them too. They beat their children too.
I got a friend from I was in the service with. He was from Quakertown, and went up there, and it was the first time when I went there. He's like, "Oh, you got to try this." So his mom made us scrapple and applesauce, and I had never had scrapple before, and I was like, "Hey, this is pretty good," you know. Put some hot sauce on it, and
hot sauce corrects it all.
All right, so the bullet vial, right? So it's got swarm lure in it, and it's got a polyacrylic gel in it. And what I do is when I've got my swarm trap set up, you know, all the frames have the dog ears, right? So you got the frame rest that's in here, and then you got the dog ears together. So what I do is I put them at the end here between the dog ear and the frame rest to kind of hold it. And then I just pop the lid open, and that's it. You're done. Just leave it in the swarm trap. Depending on your temperature and everything, those crystals will stay wicking the lure up for about a month. And then if they dry out, though, they will literally turn back to a grain of sand looking type of deal. If you just chuck them in there, you're going to lose the grain out when it dehydrates. So if you leave it like this, you can just come back with the eyedropper or a pipette or something with your swarm lure bottle and fill it back up. And then that crystal rehydrates and you're good to go again. You don't have to refrigerate them or freeze them. Matter of fact, don't do that because everybody knows liquid when it freezes expands. And so that's the vial. Pretty simple concept, but you get an envelope. It's got one vial in it, and actually changed the label since then. This was the old label. That's what the old label looked like, and that's what the new label looks like. So basically the same, just different font for the bullet, a little bit bolder, stands out better. So just they're just kind of a pain in the butt to do. Give you an idea. But those grafting glasses work really well for doing this. So this is this is a bunch of crystals, right? So that's the size, how big they are when you get them. Kind of like a, what do you call them? Kind of like, what's that salt that you can get? Not the iodized one, but the other.
So coarse.
Yeah, they're like a coarse salt. That's basically what it's like. I mean, it's
coarse
not
sea salt,
but it's about that size. Let's see. But I did do a video on it, and Mike Berry did one on it, but he actually just chucked it in the bottom. So in his video, which I mean, it's fine. Just know that you're probably going to lose the crystal out of it when it dehydrates because it's going to shrink. Yeah, no lemongrass in it.
Yeah, I saw that, Bob, and I like that. You have your own formula, and I like that.
Well, the other thing is that, yeah, I don't have a lot of dead queens. No, matter of fact,
we all love dead queens, right?
Well, the dead queen, you know, people will use dead queens and put alcohol and use it for a swarm lure, which is fine, but that's not a sustainable retail model. I would have to be raising tons of queens just to make dead queen swarm lure, right?
Yeah, well, let's take swamp ass and make it a lure.
Yeah, so it is difficult. Matter of fact, I don't have it in here, but I've got
A couple dead queens or what?
No, I got a bunch of the stuff in to make some more. So I'll show you
Clearly
my.
picking on you, Bob. I'm busting your ass.
Hey, you want to see my high-tech mixing solution here?
Where's your wife? She mixing?
No, this is my high-tech mixing vial. It's a big quart mason jar. So
Nothing like the South.
that's the base.
Nothing like the South.
Got to keep it airtight, man. Airtight. The grafting glasses. Does who sell grafting glasses? So these grafting glasses I got off of the Amazon for like $30. Got the headlight on it. A couple different things. And they come with like 5 different lenses and a nice little case. Matter of fact, I should just probably put these up. But if you're trying to wear a veil in this, it doesn't work too good. But yeah, it comes in a case and stuff. If I can figure out how to put it back in, it'd be nice. Let me see. Probably like this. Possibly like that. Of course, I got the lenses on it, but it comes. I got the one with the case. It's like $30. They just open the tap and the honey comes out. I'm skeptical. It does come out, but what I've heard on the Flow Hive is people when they do it the very first time, that it leaks like around the bottom and drips in there. And then the bees come up and I guess clean it up and propolize that together. I don't know. I haven't used one myself, but some people use them. Yeah, Donnie, don't put those in the freezer, bro. It could pop them. But the Man Lake one says to freeze. Mine is a non-freeze one, which is why it was designed, because I had a supplier say they buy those from Man Lake, but the problem with the Man Lake ones is you have to freeze them. So,
but so Bob, let me ask you. What type of weather you have the last couple of days?
Yesterday it rained and was cold.
Cold. You say cold. What's cold for you?
Well, you got to remember it was just 80, right? So tomorrow it's going to be, or Monday it's supposed to be 49 and 44.
Okay.
And the highest I see it until Thursday. Well, Tuesday is supposed to be 65. The rest of the week is like 50s and to 60. Yesterday it was in the 50s too. So compared to the 80s that it was, that's a pretty big.
Yeah, you had 80s in it.
Big change, you know.
So whereas up here, we're in the 30s and 40s if we're lucky.
Right.
You know? So you got to look at the difference in temperatures and stuff like that. So I mean, you have the people up here in the north, and you're selling your swarm lure.
Yeah, it's gonna.
These are the guys right now. They should be saying, "Hey, get ready."
Right.
You know,
It's on Amazon, so I've been getting a pretty steady. I've been getting them from. I sold one to New York State this weekend, Houma, Louisiana, and Lamar, Colorado, is what I've got sitting over here right now.
Well, you know what? The guys up in my area, they have another 3 weeks before they even have to worry about it, and they should be thinking about, hey, you know what? We're going to start getting warmer, because I have I think 7 boxes downstairs that I'm not even thinking about putting out for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right.
So the guys up north here, they should be thinking about your swarm lure Hey,
I
we have to
agree. They
get.
should be thinking about my swarm lure.
Yeah, get it in hand now, because you know what, a couple weeks from now you might not have it.
Well, it's when they start swarming, then you're like, oh, I need swarm lure. Then it's
Yeah, exactly. Don't wait. Get it in hand.
Canada's
Because
got it already.
yeah. Well, James, you know what? He doesn't need it. He's up there in the Canadian Canucks. They don't need that stuff. There's more bees up there than you could handle with, So, but people up in New York, PA, Ohio, they should be thinking about it. Honestly. Oh, he's pulling it out.
Look at that. He's got it.
Yep.
That's from Hive Life Conference right there.
But you know what I'm saying is right here, right now. I have frost. I can go outside, and when I pee on the sidewalks right now, it freezes.
It's so cold.
You can see that mine's covered in snow.
Yeah, well, you got snow, and I pee on the sidewalks, it just freezes.
It's so cold where James is. He pees ice cubes outside.
Yeah, well, he does.
It freezes before it hits the ground.
That happens in June up there in Texas.
So I did take I did take stock today. So after our conversation yesterday, and you're like, oh, you're sitting good. I mean, and I'm sitting there saying, I don't feel like it's so good. But after today, I felt a lot better. And and then I went out to the backyard out there, and I've got
water.
That's vodka.
It's been a long day.
Vodka.
That's his vodka glass by the mud.
Well, hey, I'm 7-7, so
there you go.
And so the backyard that had nothing in it last week, right? Until last Saturday when I got the queen cells, right?
Yep.
And they didn't have anything till like Sunday. So basically a week. So it went from no colonies back there to 2 swarms, the 5 mini mating nukes that I put out there.
The 2 framers, right?
Yep. And then 2 more 2 framers that Amir and I made today because finding queen cells. So now there's 9 back there.
So you're treating those 2 as a walk-away split?
Yep. Okay. Just let them hatch out to try to keep them from killing my breeder queen or what I'm breeding from.
Did you make those strong, so lots of bees?
Yep, 2 frames of bees in there.
Okay.
So we know it's going to get a little cooler, so they'll should have enough to keep everything warm in there, right? And I don't plan on them to be in there very long. So we'll see what happens. But that's 9 colonies I did not have a week ago.
Like I said, you're growing.
It doesn't feel like it though, because you look at the front and it's like, man, it's the same boxes I was looking at yesterday and the day before and last summer. And
Bob, it doesn't matter.
But it
doesn't matter.
The other thing too is
it doesn't matter until the end of the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as soon as your flow hits, right? What personally, what I think you need to do is you need to get your boxes and bottom boards wherever you're going to put them, get them ready, get them set out there, because as soon as your flow hits, now completely once again up to you as to how you want to manage them. But
I got some flow going because they're backfilling everything.
Exactly, but those hives are just going to go right, and that's probably going to happen in, I'm going to say, about 2 weeks, which will be just prime for your next set of grafts, right? And you're going to find it's going to be way easier to get queen cells without a queen in there.
Bastard. You're probably right, sir. You're probably right.
Well, as soon as you told me that those two queens, then when you did your autopsy there, had a black spot on them, that's where I told you your queen's been in there way longer than what you thought.
And so we'll I'm it's gonna be good. And then now those two swarms, because they're in that 5-frame nuke, 2 weeks, they're gonna be ready to pull out a couple frames of brood, split them off too. So it's
So you told me before that you figured you had what, 5 that you could split?
uh-huh.
So
And that one
and
that I
that
showed you
was
the brood frame out of today.
right. That was 5 that you could split yesterday.
That I haven't split.
Right. But that was 5 that you could have split yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Your queens are spooling up, as you saw. And, the more I thought about it, so you've got a bit of a flow going. But there's something else you're doing, which is causing those queens to lay like that.
The apis.
Exactly, the nutrition that they're getting that prime nutrition through that apis. I've seen it, and it's I literally went in, got my burger because I was talking to Bob right before lunch. Went in, got my
Your
burger,
burger.
and I came back out, and it's like, no, that's exactly what I saw. So you can imagine half of my apiary looking like that. I mean, slab on both sides of these frames, slab after slab after slab of solid, absolutely corner to corner, top to bottom brood in half of my apiary. And the other half of my apiary, a patch like this in the center, a patch like this in the center. And literally, it was literally that easy. I asked myself, what on earth am I doing? Like, why am I, and I completely abandoned my test and everything got aphis, that afternoon.
Well, you remember, what was it, a week or two ago when I said I added that box and I checkerboarded, and I think I remember you saying, I don't know if I would have done that. And that was the colony that I was pulling out those slabs of brood out of.
Yep.
Today.
And did they draw all the checkerboard?
Well, it was a mix of well, that one that I took the picture of was a drawn frame. It was a new frame, you could tell. But the other ones, I also put some like older damaged comb in there for them to repair and stuff like that. But
so checkerboarding works really, really good if you've got a flow on. What I found though is bees will travel up and down very easily. So if you're going to checkerboard them like that, it's best to have, how do I put this? It's best to have 2 frames of brood with one on the inside, and that one on the inside has to be directly above one that is completely covered in brood. They'll move up, and I find they draw it a little bit quicker that way.
Right. That's what I did, is I made sure that when there was like if it was empty underneath, there was drawn or brood over it. Mm-hmm. So they were just opposite in the box. So
yeah, and how did the bottom box turn out? Did they draw that?
I didn't pull that medium box off, but it was slam full of bees.
Okay. Good.
So I'm sure they're working it.
Perfect.
So, and then I put the queen excluder on top of the box I added, because I wanted the brood that they were laying in that super to hatch out, but that medium was slam full of bees still.
Perfect.
So,
excellent.
So yeah,
and like I said, that I was trying the same thing you did, and I'm going to be trying a whole bunch of stuff this year too. So the thing that I'm fighting is getting all that comb drawn, right? So
well, that's a battle.
Which feeder did I have on the nuke? That's a internal feeder that was designed specifically for those nukes, the Lyson nukes.
Yeah.
I like that feeder because matter of fact, the starter finisher, they sucked all that down again. So
and they will.
And Amir sent me a message, and he was like, Bob, don't forget to fill your top feeder up.
Yeah.
And so I went in there and just took a picture, mixed up the apis, mixed up actually probably a little bit less than 1-to-1, and filled it right on up. So
There you go.
and now
Yeah,
Bob's my uncle.
Exactly. They'll suck that down. And it's did you put pollen patty back in there too, or do they have pollen?
They have pollen.
Okay, perfect.
Everything I've got out there has got slabs of pollen in it now.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's living in the South.
Hey, we've got our issues. Don't get it twisted because when you guys
listen,
have that.
your issue.
Okay, we're starting to flow, and okay, now the flow's over, and we're getting ready for winter. Ours goes, we got a flow. We don't have a flow. We got a flow. Okay, we're done. Oh, well, we're not really done because it's still 80 degrees on New Year's Day, right?
Yeah.
You know what this is, right?
Aw.
It is challenging. You'd be surprised. It's a little.
I'm like,
I would love that challenge.
I'm like snow.
Listen, James and I would love that challenge.
Yeah, snow. No chance of flow. No nothing. Snow. Full on flow. Whoa, go.
Yeah,
Snow.
Yep. Listen, we go from one end to the other end. Here's what the one it is. You're 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 years, 16 years old. Oh, it goes up through the ceiling. Wait a minute. We're back down to the 20s.
Now,
and now we're happy again.
Well, one of the big problems, it's not really a problem. We got different issues, right? So we're in Canada, your issue is making them make it through that winter.
Well, in a short season.
No. James got it right there. That little like the women say, the little.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm not going to cry about your short season when in your short season you make twice.
Yeah. The women say the little.
Yeah, but you know what this is, Bob?
Well, the size of your pecker, probably.
Well, yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
And it's 4 months long, buddy.
Yeah,
it's 4 months long.
That's what it comes down to. All right, Bob, you brought it up, but he put it out there.
But it's just a different set of challenges, right? So, Carl, do you have hive beetle issues up there?
Not at all.
What's a hive beetle?
I only had hive beetle issues with one thing. I cut out, for a buddy of mine, I cut out a feral hive, and I brought it back to my place, and we had hive beetles. Froze them out.
So to give you an idea, I go in the starter finisher yesterday, right? The pollen,
you're loaded with them. I know.
The pollen patty had a small patch of larvae in it, right? There were no hive beetles in there anymore, just larvae. So they've already laid and moved out and went somewhere else. And then we went in a colony today that had a pollen patty on it in the baggie, had larvae in the bag. I mean, it's just, but that's why it's in the bag. So now I can pull that baggie off and get 90% of those larvae in the bag out of there.
There you go. Kentucky guy was asking, anybody have tips for getting more mated queens? There you go.
Chinese grafting tool.
And it unfortunately, I don't have any tips for you to get more mated queens. I mean, unless you're going to buy them. But any of us that are grafting queens and making the queens, I hate to say it, but it's just the law of numbers. The more you graft, the more you can get in those mating nukes, the more mated queens you're going to have. And grafting really is the key to that.
Well, we went in some of my colonies today. Amir was like, look at that. You got black drones and you got blonde drones. I got light gold drones in there and dark black drones. And, and one thing is I'm finding, and I don't know if it's the case or not, I'm just going to say what I think is when my colonies start making their own queen cells, the bees are saying we got enough drones.
Well, yeah, possibly.
But I mean,
why,
it's like a sign.
Why does a hive make queen cells?
because they're going to swarm or supersede the queen that's in there.
Correct. So it's not something that they would normally make unless they're plugged out, which I think you said you found a little bit of that today.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're plugged out, they're out of room. They're going to swarm.
But they may not even be out of room. That was the thing that I found so interesting today, is that in their mind they're out of room. But if that queen would just go on the other side of that pollen frame and find there's 4 frames that she could use, but she won't.
Yeah. So you hopefully you moved that to the outside edge, did you? Or moved it out?
Yeah, we moved it out and gave them room to see. Oh yeah, so you're using sandwich bags for your liquid feed? There's nothing wrong with that. I use sandwich bags for my pollen tub. We got to see a cat butthole on the screen. I'm a
It's treat time for them. So, no. What else has people got for questions on here? How many bee colonies do you have in Kentucky? Oh, for the Kentucky guy. 8, huh? Well, that's pretty good.
Well, Bob, James, here's one thing I gotta tell you is, from your design, I built 5 sets of bee bases today for the three 6-frame boxes.
The three-way pallets. Yep.
Yeah, I built 5 of them today, and that's what I'm going to use in one of my out yards that I'm working on.
Right on.
Today, this year at least. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
And
No, like I said, those the way Brad has designed those pallets, that's absolutely incredible.
I mean, I would have liked to use some different material than I did, but I used some of that 25-year plywood. What is it called?
Advantech.
Advantech. I used that, and that's what I'm running with. And we'll see how it works out. And the way I feel about it is, if it lasts me 5 years, I'm ahead of the deal.
There you go.
So now this is something that you're challenged with this year. So I'm gonna hear how you're gonna address this situation.
Oh, who's challenged, me or Carl?
Probably both of y'all.
Well, I'm challenged with just about everything, so this should be
well.
Good.
As far as, and we talked about it a little bit. So you have some drawn comb. I have some drawn comb. At what point are you starting to work that empty comb into the boxes to try to get them to draw it out? Because they don't see it as space, right? Is what you're saying. They don't see it as space, and everybody's like, well, put some of that drawn comb in there. Well, that's great, but it's not helping me get more drawn comb by doing that. So
I'm always trying to mix it.
Yeah. I was going to say mine will all get 1 frame. I'm going to say 2 weeks after they come out of the bee barn, they're going to get the first one. And then I'll let them build up their brood nest for probably, I'm going to say, another 2 to 3 weeks. And then they're going to get a box on top of them. And I am going to pile the sugar water to them.
I'm always going to try and mix it.
I like the starter finisher is already drawn out like 3 frames of comb.
That's what I said. Always keep one in there. They're going to make that for you, right? That's awesome. And they're bored bees. They're all new bees, so they're ready to go. So keep doing that. Just keep getting another one in. When that one's done, pull it out, drop another one in. Just keep cycling that thing through. And basically every graft you're going to end up with a frame of drawn comb.
Well, Bob, I'm 4 years in, and
As am I.
the one thing that when I started researching this years ago, the one thing that everybody ever said was comb is the king of everything.
Yep.
And
But see, I never had
If-
problems before because, like, if you put a nuke or you're dropping it in there, you're putting empty frames and they're drawing them out, just like those swarms. If I drop,
yeah, but you're in the South. You're in the South.
holy crap, what does that have to do with the price of
You're
tea?
in the South. You're in the warm weather. You're in the warm weather. You have 8 months out of 12 months. I have 2 or 3 months out of the year.
Yeah, I could drop them in there, so I'm going to drop them in there pretty much constantly. And part of the
Yeah.
weird thing,
So
part of
what
the
I'm
thing that
saying is, I'm trying to. If I get a comb, I'm going to take it. And if I'm always trying to build the comb, always trying to build. Everything I do is build comb, build comb, build comb.
So, yeah, no, I'll put. I'm gonna, like I said, Dale, I'll get a one frame in the bottom box in either station 3 or 7 as soon as they come out, and then I'll take what comb I have left, I'll put that up top, and then I'll, from a honeycomb from last year, I'll put that in the center. Try to encourage them to come up and start working it, and that works pretty good too. If you've got that honey, a spun honeycomb,
Right.
you can stick a virgin foundation, if you will, in between that. They'll draw that out really, relatively quickly too. Just got to keep, it costs me in sugar, but
Blaine he's like, new business idea, Bob, sell drawn comb to the north.
It could sell. It could sell.
But yeah, we've got like some flow, a little bit of flow going on, and but it's different, right? So when you're in expansion mode, you're never going to have enough. So it's like you just keep.
Yeah, but here's something to wrap your head around, right? How long would it take you to draw 2,000 frames down there?
Down here?
Yeah.
Probably longer than it would take you to draw 2,000 frames.
Because of our flow. So I've got 2,000 frames I got to draw this year. Next year, I'm planning on having 4,000 frames to draw. So it's a big job.
Yeah, but the problem is James, the problem is you could build 1,000 combs in one season, but the problem is you need 4,000 combs.
Correct. I'll get there.
So that's what I'm saying is, if you're in the South, they could build 4,000 combs in half the time that we can.
No.
Yeah, I think our flow. So
if you guys in the Bob, I'm not busting you, but if you.
Well, I've been living the dream for 4 years, and I'm telling you, no, it's not going to happen.
If you're feeding the bees properly, you can build more comb faster than we are, and you have more time to build combs than we do.
I think we have a better chance of drawing the comb for one reason. During our flow, that is because, what is it, 6 or 7 pounds of honey to 1 pound of wax? Because our honey flow is so massive so quickly, we have that resource, we have that energy, we have that honey that they can use readily available to build that comb quickly during our flow.
And as you guys have seen, we've had warm weather, but my colonies they're just now getting to where they're starting to get strong enough to even be able to do anything, really.
Right. So and here's something else to remember too. Like I started with 15 last year, ended up with 78. So that was over 500 frames of foundation that they had to draw out last year alone. Out of those first little colonies. So I think I've got that figured out. So
Well, my statement is you have a longer season
But it's
to
not a
build.
strong season.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're missing the nectar down there. I think they're missing the nectar to have the good honey flow in order to draw the comb. I think they're short resources, so
Like
they could probably make that up with sugar water, but
Well,
which
that's
is
what I'm
more
saying. Is they have
which
the
is more
warmer
costly,
weather.
I guess.
If
Yeah.
they stimulated it, they could build it.
So if you build it, they will come.
It would be a procedure, but they could build it. Whereas you and James, you're even shorter than I am. But if
Oh,
Yeah,
they,
but you
if,
make 100 pounds a colony on average, right, honey? Where we make 50.
well, I can't tell you that, Bob. I can't tell you that honestly, because I'm in my 5th year, and I've been year and year building up my comb and everything else to build up into more numbers.
Well,
I
that,
think,
yeah,
So
I think, I think,
right now I'm at 19. I was last July I was at 31, and
yeah, I think our stats.
I stepped it back to get through the winter and that, but I've been building it up.
Our
And
stats up here for Alberta, I think,
yeah,
for
at the end of
2022, I
this
think was
season,
110
I plan to be at around
pounds.
70 or 80, where James is.
James is making 110 pounds. So let's do the math on this, right? So 110.
I'm hoping to be about half of what James is. To be honest.
So let's say honey be damned, we're not taking any honey. 110 pounds. You said it's
I think that was the stats for 2022. The average colony harvest for 2022 in Alberta.
so let's say an average colony, you're saying 7 pounds of honey per pound of wax.
Correct.
So that means you can draw 16 pounds of wax per colony, new wax,
Correct.
if you sacrifice your honey.
100%. If they were to do that, of course they never ever do that. But
So if I had the same colony and it was here on my property, I would only be able to make less than half of that.
right, about 7 pounds.
Yeah, about 7 pounds. So
Yeah.
And that's if, like I said, no honey, just drawn. So
to answer John's question, yes, the bee genetics are the same. You're going to find all of the genetics are going to be from a few strains. So, the Italian, the Carnolian, the Russian strains, they're all going to be from those same original European strains. So they're the same.
Well,
genetics.
I here's what I could tell you is at the beginning of last year, I started with, I think, after winter, I started with 9 hives, and I built it up all the way in the mid 30s, almost 40. I think I was at 41 queens, and I dropped it back down because I was requeening, rehiving, and everything else. And I went into this past winter. I think it was at 23 hives. And right now, I am sitting at, I believe, 19.
I went in.
And I'm just telling you, I'm at 19. And last year, in honey production, we were at about 480 pounds.
See, I got about the same honey. Now, here's the difference.
And honestly, over the last, I've been building year in, year out, building my frames out. And at the end of this year, I believe I could run 80 to 90 hives at a single brood management procedure.
Single brood chamber management.
Yep. Yep. So in other words, I've been building the frames out and everything else. I'm building them out so that I have built out frames because of the wax management that we were just talking about. Wax management and that is king of all of it. It's not honey production, it's wax management becomes the whole equation.
Yeah, the so last year I came into spring with 12 colonies. At one point here, I had 60 between 2 frames, 5 frame, 10 frames. I had 60 colonies with queens in them.
Yeah, you can get away with 5 frames. I love that fact.
And I was selling queen. I was doing everything, selling queens and everything. So I did get some excess by the end of the year when I condensed down and, dead outs and stuff like that. So I have some comb, but and they build up. But the thing is that I only make, like, after this honey flow, watch, I'll take a video for you guys. After the honey flow and it starts getting hot here in the summertime, everything will burn out. The grass will turn brown. Everything will be dry and dead and burn out. And they're not making nothing. They're not, nothing.
See up here, I burn out right about
the first frost.
I was gonna say
they get freezer burned.
Yeah, I'm getting burnt out here now. Is what I'm getting. But I'll tell you, I'm extremely happy with my.
Hey James, you got that log you're throwing in there like Ian are throwing that log?
No, not tonight. Actually, here I'll show you. Unfortunately, it's dead cold. It's cold in there. But tomorrow morning I'll have it going.
Yeah.
So I think, no matter where you're at, we got challenges as beekeepers. It's different. That's why everything's so geographical, right?
Yep.
So, it doesn't make it necessarily easier or harder for either location. We have our different challenges, right? But, I got hive beetle to deal with,
Absolutely.
And, oh yeah, man, I try to get them out. I try to get them out.
I sent you a picture of couple shots out of the barn there. So
let me see, man. There's bees jammed in that feeder hole.
That's where you pull the top, the feeder hole out of the top, and they're all over in there. I didn't know if you wanted to bring those up for the.
Yeah, I've got to email them to myself here.
See, the problem is I don't have email on my phone. I got to figure out how to set that up.
Let's see, Gmail.
But yeah, I had Alan helping me there today, and then went out and saw basically another buddy of mine that I grew up with. So he's a welder. So he was going great guns with the TIG all day today.
You didn't send me any photos of that.
No, that's coming in the video.
Well, I hope everybody's building up their stuff now because
I'm not.
The season's coming.
Let me see.
Yeah, Michael, if you can make the pallets and stuff like that cheap up here, that's one of the major expenses for us up here. So
no, he's making frame nukes out of pallets.
Oh, out of pallets. Oh, okay, I see.
Let me see. All right, so here's first.
Sorry, I missed that.
First, where is it? There we go. That's the first one. Let's give it the big view here.
So they're still doing quite well, as you can tell.
Oh, yeah. They're up in that top super now, right?
They're up in that top one now, yep.
So now, hopefully you don't have the challenge that I had this year, getting them back out of that super before she gets up there and starts laying it to town.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Let's see.
I'll reverse those boxes and away we go.
Here's the other one.
So there's still a fairly nice cluster in there, eh?
Yeah. I don't see that many dead bees right there.
Good for them.
That's a good thing. And
I
they're
just
hanging low down there. That's good.
I just need to keep them that way for the next 2.5, 3 weeks.
So you got a 3/4 inch plug in the top of that?
No, that's a what is it? 2-inch.
That's a 2-inch plug. And you can
Yep.
just get that plug right at the hardware store.
Yeah. So what that is a what do they call it? A WW75 or 55 or something. But that's a cap that they put on the end of the threads of a piece of pipe to protect the threads.
Let me see. I got to find some of those, but I don't have that. I need to drill bigger holes in my migratory covers.
Right. So anybody that's drilling the holes for these plugs, so do not use a hole saw. Okay. A lot of people make the mistake. They try to drill those holes with a hole saw.
Paddle bit?
Use a Forster bit.
Oh, Forstner bit. Okay.
It makes a much better job, and the plugs will fit the holes. A hole saw wobbles around so much that those plugs don't fit. They flop in and out. But a Forster bit makes a really nice hole. So I got a 2-inch Forster bit that we use to make those holes.
Need to, but you probably got a nice drill press and.
I didn't actually. I went and borrowed. Well, actually, I went and borrowed a drill press this time around. I have to find one. Up until this year, I did them all with a 2-inch or a 3/4 inch hand drill.
Using the Steve-O hive, the what's he call it? The beefy hive, is that what he calls it? The beefy hive. The using 2x.
There you go.
I stopped making my boxes just for time's sake, and the nothing wrong with it, but it's just
Me
not
too.
what I want to do.
I stopped making them too because I can't fit any more in my garage.
I actually started by
I started building my own, dude.
playing in the boards, cutting them and jointing them, making the joints and everything else. And this is going back 5 years ago. And then I realized that, hey, I have Man Lake 10 minutes from here, 15 minutes.
Yeah, you probably get deals at Man Lake that we cannot get.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to. I can buy the jointed boards, they're budget grade, $12-15 a piece. It's not worth the aggravation doing it, you know.
Oh, look at that! Someone ripped my idea off.
What's that? So, Mr. What is it? Mr. Make It Worse makes it better. So, if frames take you so long, what you need to do is, there you go. If your frames take so long, make up a frame jig. So, go over to Nathan with Duck River Honey. He has a really good jig there that he's modified, and it works really, really well. So you can make that jig as long as you want. I think he even gives you the dimensions to make 10 of them at a time. And doing that, your frames will take you no time at all.
I've got to populate that. I'm using one of my 6-frame nukes as my starter finisher, right? So that's one of my 3x6s. Either that or I got to buy another one and then paint it and get it ready to go.
There you go.
Yeah, James is right, though. If you have a jig, you could put together 20 or 40 frames like you can't believe.
Well, Alan and I working in the shop there I guess it was, all one day. We put 300 frames together before coffee in the morning. He was nailing them together. I was popping the foundation in, and yeah, 300 frames took us nothing.
Yeah, if you have a nice jig, you can take care of it in no time.
I mean, he was knocking another 10 out before I could pop the foundation in 10, get them wrapped together, and he had another 10 already done. So
I believe it.
it goes quick.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, Steve, have you seen Steve-O's bees? They're not always the friendliest ones either.
You're buying cheap bees, you're getting cheap bees.
I've watched some of his videos. Some of them are pretty feisty. They're spicy. I've got some spicy bees too, but some of them.
Like,
Yeah, we saw it, Bob. Bob,
spicy
we saw it.
They're,
You couldn't even walk out in front of your house.
the other day I was just walking in my yard getting tagged.
Yeah, you'll like that jig. Like I say, look at Nate with Duck River Honey's videos. He's got a really good jig there. I could make a video. I could make a video.
I would love to have a conversation with that guy.
Yeah, I could make a video of my my jig, but I stole the idea from him. I'll be honest.
Mean bees. I mean, I don't know that they. I've got nice bees that make lots of honey too. So I don't know that the meanness makes much difference as far as making bees.
Mean bees don't make hot honey.
No. I gotta be honest with you. I think I don't know what to feel about it, honestly, but I have 3 hives that are hives that I've been called out by friends to pull them out of trees. They're packing honey in. Now I have 2 or 3 hives that I have in the yard that are gentle as can be. They're packing honey in. So how do you gauge it?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I put my 78 hives into the building, I didn't have a single one that was hot. You know, and the reason being is I find a hive that is hot, nasty, mean, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'll requeen her. I just I don't have time.
It makes it a lot less enjoyable to work your bees. Matter of fact, I find the reason my hot hives make more honey is because I don't mess with them. They're the last one. If I'm running late in the day and I don't get to that one, great. I just didn't work that colony because it's just not fun to work them.
Exactly. Michael, on that one, that jig of Duck River Honeys. So if you're, he's got a great one for mediums, but if you're making it deep, I made the exact same jig. I just made it a little bit taller, and then it works great for my deeps as well. So.
But yeah, that's going to be what's in my near future too, is frames. More frames. I've got frames. I mean, I've got some frames that obviously aren't drawn out, and then I've got some that are still in the case that aren't drawn out. Yep. And then I've got drawn out too. But I don't have enough. Like, if I had to use all of my medium supers, I wouldn't have enough frames for them. So gonna have to get that.
Oh. Well, I got what? I got 3, 4, 5. I got 600 frames already built, ready to go, foundation in, but all I got is 1,400 left to build.
Yeah, but you won't need all 1,400 right away either, though, right?
No, I'll need. What will I need? I'll need 780 within probably 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're good. Well, I mean, I can just tell by your colonies that in the photos, assuming that's like an average colony, that's much better than the colonies that I had here that were out all winter in the South, where everything's grand and beautiful.
Yeah. Well, this is the month that everybody tells me they lose sleep. I still haven't figured out what to expect yet, but
But you had
Yeah.
an insurance feed where most of those guys don't put the insurance feed on. So,
Well, on most of them, I had the insurance feed. Yep. So
so
I hope that makes a difference. Like I said, you know,
we'll know
somebody
when
was.
Ian puts his video out that he's putting mediums in all of his.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen. He's a much what's the word I'm looking for? More experienced beekeeper than I am.
Well, and you might find when you're going through those and taking out the feed that's left in there and saying, man, I didn't need all that extra feed.
Nope, there's a very good possibility of that. But if all that feed is there, guess what? I probably don't have to feed him sugar water.
Frames grow on trees down south, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some, and I've just been kind of the bank's been dragging their feet putting my deposit in, so I've been dragging my feet on ordering frames.
There you go.
Plus, it's never fun when you're writing checks for $1,000 or $2,000. You know, it's yeah, I know. Well, I don't buy the high dollar frames that you get though.
I hate those plastic frames. I hate them with a passion.
Well, you know, we pulled some out that I pulled out of a box and dropped in that were still tacky. And what'd they do? Wonky comb it. Not even close to doing it right.
Yeah.
So I scraped the wonky comb off, and they're going to make it into the house, or I'm going to take the wax melter outside and plug it in.
And away you go.
Start rolling them. Then Bob's my uncle. I like that phrase.
Yep, exactly. Oh, I'm dying on you here.
Yeah, it's not going to be long. I'm going to be getting off of here for sure. But the yeah,
well, we're gonna hit the weld shop early again in the morning. So
it's been I'm already. I feel like I've learned so much this year, even in my failures. You know,
absolutely.
And so that's that's the thing. I wish I could have videoed today, but right now with grafting, I don't want to put a grafting video out. I don't care about people seeing me fail or do something wrong. That doesn't bug me. What bugs me is I'm trying to get it right. And that's just another piece of something that's taking my mind off of what I'm trying to do.
But one of the things though, and I get that. I get that absolutely. But I think what you're doing is great. And the reason being is there's lots of people on here that are they're not, sideliners, or they haven't been doing it that long. And I think it's important that they see it's, you'll have somebody like, myself come on, or you'll have somebody like Brad come on, or Ian and stuff like that. But you got to remember, we had to learn the hard way too. And I'm still learning, right? I've only been grafting for 3 years. I'm still learning, and that's just part and parcel of what you go through, right?
Right.
But the biggest tip, I said it last night and I'll say it again, the biggest tip that I can give anybody out there that wants to try and graft is get a plan, like I gave you that sheet there, Bob. Get a plan, stick to it, don't skip it. You can, if you take a shortcut in trying to raise queens, it'll kick you in the ass. If you try to skip a step, it'll kick you in the ass. It is important that if you're going to do queens, do it exactly right by the timeline, step by step by step. And if you do that, you will be successful.
Well, and again, I was not thinking of anything but the grafts, and you're like, what are you talking about? You've already grown 25%. And I didn't even, until I counted them, I was like, yeah, you're right. And then I counted the ones in the back, and now there's 9 sitting back there that I didn't have a week ago. And the splits out in the yard there. Now, one of those splits was in a single deep. We moved it back to a 5-frame nuke because it was just too much room for them, right?
Right.
So let them build that out, and then.
Well, the other thing that you can start looking and thinking about doing here is one of the things that I do very early in the spring, and that's equalize. Right now,
Right.
I wouldn't equalize it. So the fact that you haven't equalized at this point is a great thing. It's a good thing, right? Because it's going to give you room to do some more splits. Like I said, those 5 hives that you told me, you were ready to split yesterday. Well, in 16 days from now, well, I guess it wouldn't be 16, it would be 13 days from now, 12 days from now, you might be able to split those 3 ways.
Right.
So you're gonna be better off by waiting, and you're gonna come to a point in time where you're gonna say, okay, you know what, I've got all the bees I want for this year, and that's gonna come, I think, relatively quickly for you too. So be ready for that, and don't don't push yourself too far. Make sure you're keeping them strong splits. But then you're gonna say, okay, my equipment or my timeline or the season or things like this is gonna say, okay, I'm where I need to be. Now you can equalize them. Now you can rob from the strong to build up the poor or the weak. And but when you do that, mark your hive somehow. Mark your hives on the ones that you're putting grafts or frames into.
So you can track and see if they continue to be weak, and then to
And
eliminate that queen and requeen her.
exactly. So keep track of it. What I'm doing is I've just I just ordered off of Amazon a whole bunch of little magnets. They're a 3/4 inch magnet, but I think they're only like what they say, eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch thick. And I'm going to go out with my drill and my Forester bit and a bunch of PL glue, and I'm going to drill a hole in every one of my lids. I'm going to stick that magnet in there, and then today when I was at the weld shop, this guy's got a whole bunch of little tiny discs, and it made me start thinking. I'm just going to get, red, yellow, green, these different colored discs, and I'm going to slap that disc on there so I know exactly where it is, and I can change that disc out very, very quickly.
Right.
Right. So I think you see Ian, he uses those cards
Mm-hmm.
or a tack. He's got these great big huge tacks. If he wants that to be a grafting one, he sticks that great big tack in there, right? So just whatever you need to do to make it work. But I'm going to try that little magnet and that disc, and I'm going to see how that system works.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be a good year. It's turning out to, at this point, it's looking like it's going to be pretty decent. I hear you, Key. Well, hey, I tell you, I was not a fan. I was using the plastic foundation and the wood frames, and I wasn't a fan when I started. And when I bought a 25 deeps, and I realized, oh crap, that's $1,500 worth of frames. And then I looked at the plastic, and it was the same foundation as I was putting into my wooden frames. And then I was like, oh, but I can get that for $1. Well, when I bought them, they were $1.45 a piece. So I was like, oh, well, now I can get them for $700 instead of $1,500. And
Yep.
that was where I try to save money. A lot of people like to save money on boxes. I like to save money on frames. And Carl's passing out on us right there.
He's gone. Yep. Would the disc color
Carl
coincide with the queen color? It could, very, very much. I mean, I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to, what I'm going to do as far as marking them. I mean, there's lots of things I could do. I could put a number on it, or, maybe the color as well. All my queens are marked. And
you
I
can
have
even
no
use
queen.
that magnet and put a metal plate on them, and write on the metal plate.
Exactly. So, it just gives me a whole bunch of different options. So I'm pretty excited about getting those magnets and giving that a shot.
Yeah, that's what Blaine said. No wax moth damage in plastic, cheaper, no assembly required.
Oh, actually, no. Wax moth will eat the styrofoam. Don't kid yourself.
No, plastic. The plastic frames.
Plastic. Oh, plastic frames. Okay, yeah.
The styrofoam, I'm hoping I can keep the bees alive in there where they keep the wax moths out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you got them, but you painted yours too. I think I think Brad showed you the damage that the wax moth did to his styrofoam boxes. Eh?
Yeah,
Just
look like
horrible.
Swiss cheese.
Yep. So
that's the other thing. So anyway, guys, it's been great. It's almost 1 a.m. here, and
it's
I like
10:51, and
What are
I'm
you
going to
talking
bed
about? I was
because
falling
I was
asleep
up
already.
late.
yeah,
Yeah, Carl's already had a nap.
Passing out or falling asleep.
Listen. I've already been out.
So
Put a magnet inside the hive to put Bob's queen cell on. That's funny. Hey, you could just drill a hole in the lid and just take the whole cell and pop it right in the lid. Of course, it'd be hard to line it up to where it's in between frames.
Bob, no matter what happens, keep trying.
Oh yeah, I'm in it to win it. So I'm not used to losing. So I'm down but not out.
He's even he's more aerodynamic now too.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. He is, but you know what, James? It keeps running backwards. It keeps running backwards. You know what? We're not getting any younger. It's gonna run backwards. No matter how much we try, it's gonna run backwards.
There you go.
So,
Carl's ready to go for another round.
Hey, give me a snooze. I'm ready to go.
I'm gonna call her a night here.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're gonna hop off here.
Listen, I started at 5 a.m., so I'm ready to go to bed.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Have a good night, Carl.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks.
We'll see y'all later. Have a good one.
Good night.